So I heard a story the other day. It was about Pope John the 23rd. Pope John was this big fellow who was always humorous. Well, one of his housekeeper noticed that every night Pope John would stop by the chapel for night prayer. He would go into the chapel and turns around. Immediately he walks out. The housekeeper became so perplexed by this that after a few days, she asked him, "Your Holiness, what do you do in the chapel that's so quick?" Pope John replied, "Well, after a frustrating day, I go up to the tabernacle and I say, 'Lord, it's your church. You take care of it. I'm going to bed.'" Well, every night, I see our formator going to the chapel, and he does the same thing. Walks in, turns around, walks out. And I wonder, does he says to the Lord, "Lord, they are your postulants. I entrust them into your hands. I'm going to bed." Or maybe, "Mother, teach me to care for my postulant like you care for your sons." I could just imagine their hardship. Being in charge of guiding us is no easy task. But they care about us as our own mother would. Remember those times when they treat us like our own child? Like that they treat us like their own child? Are you warm enough? Did you bring an umbrella today? Do you have enough to eat? Primary formation is from our parents. Secondary formation is here. As a community, we feel each other's sorrows. When Father Patrick's nephew passed on, he felt sorrow, and we too felt that sorrow in our own hearts. We share that sorrow. Today, I would like to talk to you about this rosary here. It has seven Hail Marys and 7 Our Fathers. So it ends up with 49 Hail Marys. It's called a Dolar Rosary, the Rosary of 7 Sorrows. It's used by the Servite order as part of their spirituality. And this is our connection. This is our connection to Our Lady of Sorrow, our Mother of Sorrow. She who sorrows had 7 moments in her life. She who sorrows. When Simeon told her that her child will be the Messiah and she will experience great pain from this. She who sorrows. When she had to leave her home, her family, her friends to migrate to this foreign land. The single happiest moment in life is childbirth, but none of her loved ones could be there to experience it with her. She who sorrows. When she lost the child, Jesus, in the temple, I can imagine the dreadful pain of losing a child among the bystanders of that Boston Marathon bombing. The pain of mystery of not knowing if my child is safe or has been a victim. We too feel this pain. She who sorrows. When she saw her son dragging that cross of Golgotha, when she saw him took his last breath, when she finally cradled her baby in her arms again. Even though it's not our sons and daughters who were the victim of that Sandy Hook elementary tragedy, we too felt that sorrow. We felt their pain of loss. When pictures of those children were shown on the news, I had tears in my eyes. She who sorrows. When she had to bury her own child, this is an act that no parent would ever want to do. No parent should have to live through the suffering. We too share this sorrow. Each of these moments is like a sword of round 5, piercing her heart. 7 swords passing through her immaculate heart. So the 7 sorrows of Mary are the prophecy of Simon, the flight into Egypt, losing Jesus in the temple. Mary meets Jesus on the way to the Calvary. Jesus dies on the cross. Mary embraces the body of Jesus. Jesus is placed in the tomb. Let us now sing the second half of the Mass. Who is Mary? To me, she is a beautiful woman who is full of light, full of grace, and unfortunately, full of sorrows. A single sign of her presence could comfort the weariest soul. A quiet whisper from her would draw the attention of billions. She's the one who everyone asks for intercessory prayer when there are tragedies in our nation. Who is Mary? When I think of Mary, I think of my own mother. When I'm sick, she checks my temperature, she gives me medicine, she comforts me. When I can't sleep, she would sing until I fall asleep. When I scrape my knee riding my bicycle, she is weary. All mothers are weary. They are weary of their child's future. This is why this hymn strikes deep within me of how sorrowful our mother feels for her child. This hymn, I don't know if you know the name. The name is The Sorrowful Mother Stood. In Latin, it's Stabat Mater Dolorosa. It's used on the feast day of Our Lady of Sorrow, September 15th. FYI, that's one day for my birthday. I think the hymn is very beautiful. Even more so when read as a poem or read poetically. I was sitting in class in a computer lab, and the weather was gray. It was one of those days where it was just tired. Just want to get it over with. And I read this poem. I read it as poetically as I could, and it was like heaven on earth. It's so beautiful. It's rhythmic. It's so elegantly written that even after translation from Latin, it's able to hold the form of a poem and have the function of theological meanings. Who is Mary? She's the mother of humanity. She does what she does best. Our mother loves us. She will do what she can for us. She's like a master gardener tending flowers. She knows exactly how much and how frequently we need water. Too little water and we dry out. Too much and our roots are spoiled. Our mother knows. Well, my mother knows my favorite dish. It's pho. She knows how frequently to make this dish. Just infrequently enough where I don't think it's bland, and just frequently enough where it becomes my favorite meal. Our mother gives us what we need to grow in faith. She supplies us with the soil to absorb the nutrient from. Too little, then we lack the Eucharistic presence, and too much can cause us to become insensitive to the sacrament. My mother didn't have enough money to send me through Catholic school, so she would make me go to Sunday catechism and then youth group, and then parish mission trip, and then to RCIA, so that in all of these environments, I can bloom as a man of faith. Though, sometimes I act like a child. No, I don't want to eat my veggies. Our mother spoon-feed us grace. This grace. Open wide, Petey. No, I don't want to eat my veggies. I sometimes ignore her abundant grace. Do we sometimes forget how important she is? Who is Mary? Our Mother Mary is like our own biological mother. She will feel sorrow from this rejection. What is the mother to do? She does what she does best. She prays for us, and so in the end, we receive grace from her. In fact, I can tell you that when I deny her grace, not only do I cause sorrow in her heart, but I create sorrow in my own heart. Personally, for me, my life becomes chaotic without devotion to our mother. I find myself energized coming to our mother. Without coming to her within my long day, I can't go to serve the needs of others. I'll give you an example. So this last spring break, Richie and I signed up to do this volunteer work during spring break. Come Monday morning of spring break, 6 a.m., and I had a sore throat. I felt nauseous. I went to the bathroom and tried to vomit a few times. I couldn't do it. If I remember correctly, I'm not pointing any fingers, but I had hot pot with Sun, Hui, and Foon the night before. And I told Richie he might have to carry me home later.